Okay, we are so back. No, we'll go this way. We are so back. It's a solo edition of Yanks and Mets pod today. We got to break down the Yankees loss against the Red Sox, the series loss, and the Mets taking care of what they have to do and sweeping the Colorado Rockies. So that's kind of where we're going to go, but we're going to mainly focus on the Yankees because the Mets did what they had to do and comments, questions, all the above. Um, I did get some insightful thoughts from someone on Twitter about the Yankees, and I will get into that. But before I do that, I'm just going to give my thoughts of what I saw, what I think took place, and what they need to address going forward if they want to be a better team. So to me, it's not that I'm not surprised at the result. I actually predicted the Red Sox would take 2 out of 3, but the way it happened was a little bit surprising to me because I figured that the Yankees would lose Friday. They actually won Friday. Very good start by Will Warren. He was actually the best pitcher of the weekend. He deserves a ton of credit. He ends up going, I think, 5 2/3, 2 runs. Then the bullpen gets creative. They win 9-6. Rafael Devers continues to own the Yankees. He um, just hits bombs to the short porch. He owns that stadium. Yankees have no answers for him, especially Garrett Cole is not even pitching, but Devers still hits 2 bombs this weekend. But the first game was very good offense from the Yankees, and Will was pretty good. Um, Devin Williams locked down the save on Friday. He was pretty good. And then, like, when you look at the offense, what took place on Friday, Anthony Volpe had a homer. Paul Goldschmidt had one. Cody Bellinger, I believe, hit one that day. Actually, no, he didn't. I'm sorry, but Goldschmidt had one that day, and so did Volpe. I think Jazz may have got involved too. Yeah, Jazz did have one. Yes, definitely Jazz. I remember that one. So that's what took place the first game on Friday. So like they were looking good there. You thought they might win the series, and now Saturday is a game that I really did not expect the Yankees to win because they really had a disadvantage in the pitching matchups, despite what Ryan Yarbrough had done prior to that. Are you going to take Garrett Crochet or are you going to take Ryan Yarbrough? You're going to take Garrett Crochet 10 times out of 10. You're not even going to think twice about it. Marcelo actually had a homer for the Red Sox in that loss, too. Yeah, no goal, no Bellinger. I had the 3 right. So um, he played well, though. But the thing is, like, their pitching did not do that good, even in the 9-6 win. It carries over. Yarbrough has no answer. He gets rocked. Devers didn't get a bomb that day, actually. But what was really annoying from a Yankees standpoint for this game was that they didn't really seem to put their best foot forward for a win in this situation. Jazz Chisholm sits, and yeah, I know it was Crochet, and I know it was a rest day, but Pablo Reyes, again, why is he on the New York Yankees? I do not have an answer still. He's lasted way longer than he should have. He's got way more rope than he should have. He's barely played third base. He's not even covering the bag on an easy play that Peraza makes a good pickup on. I'm not going to say anything with a double score down the line. I was like 104, 106. I don't know if anyone gets that, so I'm going to absolve him there, but him not covering the base on such a basic play like that was actually a turning point in the game because they were still only down 8-7 despite playing awfully. They had a big comeback against Crochet. Austin Wells, who I said was going to be okay, had a bomb and 4 RBI against the Red Sox and Crochet. He dominated against Crochet, a 3-run bomb. It was huge. But they couldn't do much else, unfortunately. But so like that's the situation with that. But like you look at what else took place over the weekend. That was the game. That was the 10-7 game because now I'm getting to my full point here is that Ian Hamilton being in the ninth of that game just felt like a punt. It felt like a classic punt from Boone there because Hamilton has been really bad for the majority of the year. It's only a 1-run game. I'm not saying to burn Devin Williams in a 1-run game when you're losing because you don't know if you're going to need him Sunday. But could you have thought of anyone better than Ian Hamilton in that situation? I'm sure there could have been someone else. Yeah, Los Santos and Leiter Jr. actually pitched really well that day. Los Santos gave 3 scoreless, Leiter Jr. 1 scoreless, and 3 Ks. So I think he pitched on Friday. Otherwise, I would say maybe he's trying to stretch him for 2. So I won't say that. But Loizica had a rough series too. We'll get to him later. And this whole bullpen outlook, which needs more help than I realized. I would say my biggest takeaway is not that the Yankees aren't real World Series contenders, because I never thought they were anyway. My biggest takeaway is the fact that this bullpen is in way worse shape than I thought. That's my biggest concern from this series. Because Yarbo, like I said, I kind of saw that one coming. And I'll get to Carlos too. Carlos was not great, obviously. He was pitching well. I think it was, through like 4. Then he gets porched by Christian Campbell. He starts walking guys. Then he gives them a homer to former Yankee Carlos Narvaez, which kind of puts the game away in a sense. So it's just like, yeah. So that's like what took place with that. But DJ shows some signs of life again. Do I fully believe it? Do I need to see more? Yes and yes. But it is good for him that he's showing up at least. I will say that much. So we'll see if he can sustain it. He did have a homer yesterday as well. But now here's where things are getting hairy. I heard a rumor this weekend. This is my first time talking about it on a podcast. That Oswald Peraza could very well be okay. Well, I hope and think I'm back. I'm sorry for that. So let's start over again from a certain standpoint. So my rumor that I heard was that Sorry. My rumor that I heard was Oswald Peraza was on the trading block, that he almost got dealt for a reliever. I don't know what team. I heard it was being worked on Friday and it fell through. Cashman didn't sign off on it. I'm not sure like what team, what reliever, but the wheels are definitely turning in Yankee land. Peraza's time or Reyes' time is coming to an end sooner rather than later, because those are the only guys that can move for Giancarlo Stanton to come back, because no one else is going to get off the roster. Everything else is full. And like I said, LeMahieu's starting to play a little bit better, so he's not going anywhere yet anyway. So to me, the move is, like I said yesterday, last time, Thursday. I'll just do this quick. It's Pablo Reyes, case closed. Let Peraza stick around. See if you can flip him for a reliever that they desperately need. And that's where we're going to go now. So this bullpen, absolute train wreck this weekend. Ian Hamilton, awful. Put the Yankees out of the game on Saturday. Gives up 3 hits, 2 runs, 1 inning of work. And then you go to the other game that I was at on Friday, and then Chapman gets a save too. He gets 2 saves technically. So good revenge series for Aroldis Chapman. Yankees didn't want him. There was a lot of back and forth there, but at the end of the day, he's looking better with the Red Sox than he's there with the Yankees towards the end of his tenure. So that's good for him. So Will ends up giving up 4 runs that day, but he had given up 2 when he had left the game. Hedrick gives up his runs. Hedrick also gives up 2 more runs. So Hedrick gives up 2 runs So that's four. That's 4 runs in 2 games for the bullpen, and then you go to game 3 yesterday, and Loizaga gives up 2 bombs again for the second time in almost as many weeks. So like 2 weeks ish, I guess. He did against the Dodgers. I think they still won that game though, but he does it again yesterday. Hedrick gives up 2 more runs, and Cruz gave up 2. He wasn't sharp yesterday. So that's 10 runs in 3 games out of the Yankee bullpen, and that's just really bad, obviously. And that's a problem. Now, Tim Hill also hasn't been as good this year. Another issue, they need a lefty in there. Hedrick's got to go. Ian Hamilton should probably get sent down for Clayton Beeter. Yerry De Los Santos, to me, I know he's come under a lot of fire, but I personally think he's fine. I would keep him in the bullpen. For now, at least. They should trade for someone sooner rather than later. I don't know if it will be Peraza or something else, but something has to get done there. Jake Cousins is still a few weeks away. It'll be good when he returns, but that's really it. Clayton Beeter, like I said, he can come up as Eric Greiselman, a guy they want to look at. I know coming into spring, he was the guy I was very excited about. I don't think he's had the greatest season down in AAA to his standards, but he's still pitching decently. He should just toss an inning in 2/3 hitless frames. Actually, that was on the 1st of April. But he has a 4.30, 24 Ks, 23 innings. Yeah, he could definitely be better. Maybe he's not quite ready yet. But could it be worse to what we're seeing now out of their bullpen? I don't know. But maybe it is worth a shot. Maybe it's something that gets explored in a few months. We'll see. But the bottom line is that their bullpen needs a lot of help. Their starting rotation needs help in the back end, like I said last week. Like I said, the infield, all those 3 things have reared their ugly head. Now, this is where I'll get to the Twitter question that I had that someone asked me here. And it's actually a very good one, so I'm going to shout this person out, give them credit and everything. Okay, here we go. So here's the question. It's from DAX. It's from DAXS19, DAX19 on Twitter. He asked me, what are the Yankees' biggest weaknesses? Starting pitcher, reliever, adding another hitter, depth, manager. Okay, so to me, their biggest weakness is depth because it's showing up in all areas. I mean, the starting pitching, I can't blame them as much because there was a million injuries. The bullpen is not as strong as it's normally been with their depth. Like, it has had a good year, even with Devin Williams struggling. And like I said, I think he's figuring it out, and you're starting to see that. But so depth is the biggest weakness to me because that stems with all these issues that they have. Adding another hitter is probably second on my list now. I know some people want to put pitching on the list, but to me, the hitting is still a problem because they don't have an adequate infielder. They're missing a bat. They've been missing a bat the whole season. So to me, I'm not buying the whole LeMahieu thing. I do not think they should trust LeMahieu. I think he could be on the bench at least. He's at least shown he can hit on the bench against lefties. I'll give him that much. But do I want him starting in October playoff games? Probably not. So to me, they need to add another hitter, and that comes with the depth. They need to possibly add a bench bat and an infielder. But the problem is they're going to be limited with that because when Stan returns, there's only one bench spot left, and it will probably be Peraza as long as he survives, because then you have Grisham or Dominguez for the outfield bench spot. You have Rice Stanton or Goldschmidt for the other spot. Escara as the backup catcher. You only get one more spot. So, yeah, the depth is a concern. That's my biggest weakness is depth. And then adding another hitter second. And I'll still say this is tough between the starting and the relieving. And Aaron Boone was awful this weekend. No excusing that. But his hands are tied, and he only has so much control over some of the stuff that's going on. He can't control the injuries. He can't control some of the decisions they want him to make upstairs. Those are out of his control. Can he manage the bullpen better in certain situations? Of course. Was it advisable, some of the lineup decisions? No, but again, that comes from the top. So when I'm looking at starting pitching and relieving, to me, you got to win in the playoffs with starting pitching. So I know the bullpen was bad this week, but They still have Luke Weaver whenever he returns. Devin Williams is going to be a plus. Fernando Cruz is going to be a plus. You would think Jonathan Loizaga is going to be a plus. Tim Hill should be better than what we've seen so far. That's 5 arms right there. Hedrick is definitely problematic. He will not be on this bullpen come playoff time. Also, Cousins will be a plus in the playoffs. Ian Hamilton probably doesn't survive, in my opinion. I think Mark Leiter Jr. is a plus, honestly. I think he's going under the radar here. And there's something else about Leiter Jr. that I can't fully say, but I do know that he went through some issues last year, like some personal issues that affected his play. Nothing to do with substance abuse, not that. So I won't say anything else, but he's more locked in this year because that situation's taken care of. And I think he's going to be big come playoff time again. So yeah, they got to trade for a bullpen arm, and then so that's my fourth issue. That's my fourth issue because the starting pitching in the playoffs is essential. Is Clark Schmidt a Game 3 starter? You'd probably like him better as a Game 4 starter. Is Max Fried an ace? Yes. Is Carlos Rodon a Game 2 starter despite what we saw last night? Yes. Carlos Rodon, and I don't want to hear any pushback on Carlos Rodon because he's been through the ringer. He has 103 strikeouts already, a 2.87 ERA despite his bad outing yesterday. I know we don't care about wins and losses that much, but he is 8-4, and that does matter a little bit. His whip is still under 1. Carlos Rodon has been sensational this season. So I don't really care that he had a bad start yesterday. The body of work is still better than it's been since he's been a Yankee. And to me, that's a guy I feel 100% confident in handing the ball into a Game 2 situation. Like I said last week about Luis Hill, we don't know. If things go well, he's your Game 3 or Game 4 starter, but you want more assurances, so they need to trade for a starting pitcher, yes. I didn't bring up Marcus Stroman because, unfortunately, I don't feel like it's that well worth it at this point. Is he going to be willing to pitch out of the bullpen? That's going to be a question. Can he do it effectively? That's going to be a question. Will he get starts? Will they send out Warren? Will Yarbrough go back to the bullpen? There's so many moving parts and revolving doors to this. And how far off is Stroman? He's not on a rehab assignment yet? Like, it's in a month? I don't know. They said they're going to build him up to be a starter, I think. So, like, they're going to try to take as much time as they can and see how things shake out by then. So, I'm guessing at least a month, maybe 5 weeks. I don't know, though. It's pretty murky with him. So, to close out that segment, my order of operations would be it would be depth, another hitter, starting pitcher, reliever, manager, fifth. So moving forward with that, there's another thing I will take issue with, and then I will completely transition off the Yankees, and we'll close down with the Mets quickly here. Jason Dominguez, the usage of Jason Dominguez continues to be baffling to me. Why in the world does he play against Garrett Crochet, who is one of the best lefties in the league, when he is having a hard time hitting from the right side? How is that going to help him hit better from the right side? Number one. Number two, not only that, he ends up sitting against Hunter Dobbins, who was a very hittable righty. And yes, all the chirping and everything, I don't really care for any of that. Judge hit a homer off him, and Judge hit 2 bombs, and he just continues to be incredible. And anyone that thinks Cal Raleigh should be the MVP needs to have their brain examined. That is ridiculous. Cal Raleigh is a beast, and I think he's a great player. Home run leader in the league, one of the best catcher in the league, bar none. Probably could be having one of the best seasons a catcher has ever had in MLB history. In any other year, he would probably be the frontrunner for the MVP. But guess what? Aaron Judge still exists. Aaron Judge might be on pace for 60 bombs again as well. And Aaron Judge is hitting almost 400 still, and it's June 9th. So there is no debate. You look at the OPS, WRC, the slug, the on base, it's all better. And people are like, oh, Cal plays defense. Yeah, Judge plays a really good defense too. And they already account for the catcher WAR when they look at the difference. And Judge still has more than a two WAR higher than Cal Raleigh. So I don't want to hear it from Mariners fans, from MLB Network fans, from anyone trying to make a debate or conversation. There is no debate or conversation. Once again, it's case closed. Aaron Judge is a runaway candidate for AL MVP right now. So I'll switch off that. The Mets. The Mets take care of business. They do what they have to do. They sweep the Colorado Rockies. James McGill hit a wall kind of in the fifth, but they were still fine, obviously. Paul Blackburn came in for pitch 4 innings. And Blackburn is interesting to me. He had a really good start against the Dodgers. He's going to be like a swingman out of the bullpen. Montas also getting closer, maybe one rehab start away. Although, like I've been saying, I'm going to warn Met fans, do not be getting your hopes up on Frankie Montas. Do not do it. I know Stearns has pitched a lot of guys. He's fixed a lot of guys, Hefner too, but Montas, it's not it. I'm telling everyone that right now. I do not believe in Frankie Montas. I just don't. Sean Manaea, it's a different story. I think he'll be great when he returns. And he's a little further away, but he is doing some – I think he's doing some rehabs. Let me double check on that quick. And the Mets did call someone up I want to talk about also. First rehab starting June 6th. There we go. So he was, I think, Brooklyn Cyclones. So that means he's like a week and a half, 2 weeks away maybe. Seeing all my experience of covering minor league rehabs, I would say that's fair. Okay. So I was looking at something on the Mets Twitter today, and they called up a kid to replace someone else that I'm trying to see who it was again. So let me see. Trey Savage also got called up to Double-A. He's a good pitcher. I would say like Anthony Roman, the Red Sox finally call up Roman Anthony. Sorry about that. Caleb Durbin, walk-off bomb, former Yankee. Narvaez, like I said, hit a huge 3-run bomb, former Yankee. The Yankees are the catching logjam. I thought this was a cool story by Gary Phillips. He was saying how Oswaldo visited a tweet. Oswaldo and Narvi caught up. They went to the same baseball academy in Venezuela and were best friends in the Yankee system. Cabrera was extremely happy and cried tears of joy when Narvaez was promoted last year. And Narvaez has been very good for the Red Sox. I want to give them credit. I want to give him credit. I didn't realize his bat was this good at the major league level. I was wrong. His defense I always knew was good, especially his ability to throw runners out. That's never gone anywhere. So very good on Carlos Narvaez. So he's been having a fantastic year. I'll get some numbers on him as well. So Carlos Narvaez, I know he obviously hit the bomb. He's hitting his OPS is over 800 too. Like it's been a really, really impressive year for him. So I want to get his defense too. So 6 bombs, 282, 820, 360 OPS, 22 RBI, even a stolen base for good measure, 2 B-WAR. Like this is a very good year. He's doing better than Wells technically in some of this stuff. Although I'll check Wells' B-WAR in a second. His fielding, I'm trying to see the throwouts, 993 percentage, only 3 errors. Caught stealing, 22%, very solid. So Narvaez is doing very well for Boston, and that's good for him and them. And he deserves a chance and the opportunity grinding through the Yankee system for a while. And Austin Wells is a B-WAR 0.5, but he does have 10 homers in the year. Offense still needs to go up, and I still think it will. Back to the Mets and this promotion from what the Mets have gathered with everything going on. I know Jeff McNeil's having a poker night with some people. It's going around on Twitter. I think it's at Citi Field too. Okay, here's the move. Justin Garza has been added to their AAA roster. He was acquired in trade with the Giants. He has a 5.74 and 38 MLB appearances. He's a righty. So that's what the Mets did. Now, here's something I want to discuss about Soto. Now, here's the thing. Is Soto starting to play better? Yes. Is it against the Rockies? Yes. Do you take it with a grain of salt? Yes. But it doesn't mean nothing. It's still a major league club. He went 3 for 3 with 3 walks yesterday. He reached 6 times. His numbers are starting to creep up a little bit. You know, we did have a bomb against the Dodgers too, so let's not act like he just is doing this against the Rockies. And he actually doesn't have any homers against the Rockies, surprisingly. But 11 bombs in the year, 31 RBI, 7 steals, 384 OPS, creeping up a little bit. OPS 820, OPS plus 138. So it's starting to look a little better. B-WAR 2.5. So it's coming. Is it what he's being paid to do? No, not yet. 55 walks leads MLB, though. So he's still walking a ton. That's actually a lot because it's not even the halfway point yet. But yeah, so like I said, he's going to be fine. He just won't be quite as good as he was last year. And I feel the same about that. But like I said a million times, also, if he does what he has to do in the playoffs, nobody's going to care. And the Mets have opened up a little lead on Philly. And the Mets have opened up a little lead on Philly. So, yeah, I would. So yeah, he did hit one against the Rock. He hit two against the Rockies at home, but not two at Coors Field, and then one against the Dodgers. Yeah, so that's what's going on with that. Pete Alonso, we gotta talk about Pete because last time I was on this with my Dodgers friend from Incline Dodgers podcast, he was saying he was scared of Pete Alonso, and boy was he right because Alonso has been on some kind of tear. I mean, Alonso is leading the league in RBIs. 61. He's having one of the best years of his career. 990 OPS, 183 OPS plus, 396 on base, 301 average, 17 bombs, almost a 3B WAR. He's been sensational this year, and he did have a little cool period, but man, is he back now. He's one of the best hitters in the league, and he's probably even in the NL MVP discussion at this point. Probably trailing PCA, Pete Crow Armstrong, I would say. And I don't know about Ohtani because he's still only hitting, but I'm trying to look at some of these numbers for Pete. So he launched 2 yesterday. He had a 2-homer game against the Dodgers. He had 5 homers. He has 5 bombs in his last 5 games. So that's interesting. And that comes with 7, 9, 13 RBI as well. So he's been going off. And it's a good thing for them. Jeff McNeil is waking up. He had 2 bombs too yesterday. He's starting to show some life in that bat again. Beatty had a homer. Mauricio had his first career bomb after just missing one the day before on Friday. He hits a bomb Saturday. Alvarez gets in on the act. He needed a home run to get himself going. Does that do something for him? We'll see. Vientos is down, obviously, so that's why Mauricio is back in the bigs. We'll see if he holds on to his spot. So like that's how things are looking right now for the most part with the Mets. Lindor is playing injured and he's gutting out through a broken pinky toe. We'll see if he can make it through the whole season like that. If he's going to have to sit a few games at some point, does he just use the All-Star break and hope that's enough downtime? I don't know. So that's an interesting factor there, and we'll see how that all goes, I guess. And then I'm looking at the Mets outfield. Like Blinker's obviously hurt for a while. Well, Ohtani has a 3.1, so I guess he's going to be ahead of P2, probably B-WAR at least. So like the Mets are very interesting to me. Like, are they going to be the cream of the crop in the National League? I don't take as much stock as other people do in them winning the season series against the Dodgers for a couple different reasons. Number one is the fact that the Dodgers weren't even close to being fully healthy. We could start there. I know the Mets weren't either technically, but they were more holding the Dodgers. There's no Glasnow, no Snell, no Sasaki. Kershaw is trying to build himself back up still. And they didn't miss Betts, so Betts played against them. Actually, I'm sorry. Betts missed the Yankee series. He was in there for the Mets series. So, but they do what they had to do. They had a lot of leads. You know, they could have won more games, but the Dodgers are also that type of team that comes back. So you can never kill the Dodgers. You have to play 27 outs against them. Yeah, so, like, that's how I look at things there. So, I mean, the Mets starting pitching still been really good. Clay Holmes had a good outing against the Rockies. I know McGill was kind of up and down against them, but he was still solid enough that they got the win, obviously, by 8 runs. So that was good for them. And then Friday, I'm I think Saturday was Clay. Friday was let's see, Diaz got the save. It was closer than it should have been. They were making Santana look good for a while. That was the one game that Met fans were probably a little nervous about. Marte had 2 hits that day, though. Soto had 3 hits that day. And then, yeah, Lindor had a big pinch hit off the bench and he was injured. That was the big Lindor moment. And then Senga threw the ball well. So that's what took place that day. And Stanek set it up for Diaz. So I think the Mets won the NL East. Am I going to change my prediction from Phillies to Mets? Not yet, because it's still early and it's only a 4-game lead. I know Harper's down, but the Phillies are going to get better ball out of Jesus Luzardo. I don't know what's happened to him in the last 2 games. The trade deadlines will be big. The Braves, like I said, they're completely a mess and out of it. They are not even a factor. It's a 2-team race in the National League East. The Mets, do I think the Mets are better than the Cubs? Yeah, I do, because the Mets pitching is better than the Cubs. The Cubs need to pitch a little bit better. So would I take the Cubs offense over the Mets? Probably. Mets bullpen? Probably. So if the pitching's better, they can figure out the rest of it, you would think. So to me, the only team that's clearly definitively better than the Mets in the National League, despite what happened in the season series, is still the Los Angeles Dodgers. Some things never change, and until I see the Mets beat the Dodgers in the playoff series, that's the attitude that I'm going to have towards it. Because the Dodgers are going to add the deadline too. They could possibly use another outfielder maybe, because Conforto was not getting it done. Their infield situation is interesting, but they have enough there. So they put Betts back out and get a real shortstop. I mean, that's a possibility too, although Edmonds been good. So I don't know about that, but we're going to go forward now. I don't know when my next show is going to be, but I'll be back at some point. Could be solo, could be with a guest, a lot of questions, but we'll keep trucking. We'll figure it out. And everyone check out our Esquina, subscribe on all platforms, including TikTok. I'm Julian Guardy1 on Twitter, Julian Guardy11 on Instagram. You can search me on TikTok as well. Yankees and Mets episode 21 is now complete. Yankees and Mets pod episode 21 is now complete.